Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. It is the festive season, so I hope you're getting ready for Christmas. I sure am getting ready. But today we have an amazing DIY. So I'm going to show you how to make a really powerful Ayurvedic hair growth spray. So this spray can help your hair to grow longer, thicker and fuller, and it can also help to stop excessive hair shedding. It can treat bald patches, and it can also treat things like male pattern balding or hair loss that comes from, that comes with age, with menopause. So the first ingredient, cloves. Cloves, we've used them quite a lot on this channel because they are amazing. So cloves will help hair to grow longer and thicker, and they stimulate hair growth so that your hair actually grows faster. And cloves have antibacterial and antifungal properties, so they can help to clean the scalp and make the scalp nice and healthy. And as we know, healthy hair grows out of a healthy scalp. So cloves, they also condition hair to some extent, but I wouldn't necessarily call them a good conditioner, but they help hair to grow. The next ingredient, another favorite of mine, fenugreek seeds, also known as methi seeds. So fenugreek helps hair to grow back in bald patches, and it also helps to stimulate faster hair growth. And it also helps to thicken up the hair, so the diameter of the hair follicles will get bigger, and therefore the hair that comes out of the hair follicles will be thicker. So eventually, over time, your hair can actually be thicker. It also helps to treat things like male pattern balding because fenugreek has DHT blocking properties. So it's really good for male pattern balding and also hair loss from menopause. The third and final ingredient is amla, and I'm using the powder, but you can actually use the berries if you find them. So amla is also known as Indian gooseberry, and it is one of the top ingredients for hair growth. So amla can help to speed up the rate at which your hair grows, and it also treats bald patches. So it's an effective treatment for alopecia, and it also helps to prolong the growth phase in the hair cycle, and therefore your hair will ultimately grow longer. So the method is pretty simple. First of all, we're going to add 2 cups of water to the pot, and I am adding quite a bit because once we boil the cloves and we soak them, some of the water is going to disappear, and then we're adding 1 tablespoon of the cloves, and then I'm going to boil them on low to medium heat for just 5 minutes. So I'm not going to boil them for much longer than that, and you'll notice that once they've boiled, the color of the water will darken, and that's a sign that it's working. So it hasn't darkened to the full extent, but we're now just going to set it aside, and then I'm adding 1 tablespoon of fenugreek seeds into the jar, and has to be a heat resistant jar, and then I'm adding 1 tablespoon of the amla powder into the jar as well. And then next, I'm just going to take the cloves as well as the cloves tea that we've just boiled and pour everything into the jar. So because this is boiling water, you do need a heat-resistant jar, otherwise it'll crack. So I'm not separating the cloves. I'm just going to put the cloves in there as well because I want them to infuse for a bit longer, because remember, I only boil them for about 5 minutes. So then we mix really well to make sure that all the powders, the cloves, fenugreek, that they've mixed in with the liquid, and then we close the jar and then set it aside and allow it to cool. So I leave it to infuse overnight. You can leave it for 6 to 8 hours if you're in a hurry, but I prefer to leave it overnight. You'll see that the water darkens even further, and then the solids settle at the bottom. So the fenugreek and the cloves have absorbed a lot of that moisture, and they've practically doubled in size. So now it's time to strain it to get our beautiful spray. So because there's powder in there, I find it's best to double strain. And I'm taking a couple of napkins. These are just, takeaway napkins there. You can use paper towels if you want, or even really finely woven fabric. That will still do, but I don't have that, so I'm just using the paper napkins. So I'm just securing them there so that they don't fall into the jug. And then I'm taking the end of a pair of tights, which I'm going to use to strain as well. So this is why I'm calling it double straining, because I'm using 2 things to strain with. And then I'm just going to pour everything into that well that I've created there, and gravity will make sure that the liquid starts to seep into the jug. So you do want to go slowly, but then, once a lot of the liquid has gone in, you can just pour everything in there. And then I just leave it for a few minutes again to allow gravity to do its job and get the most of the liquid into the jug. But because the cloves and the fenugreek had absorbed a lot of the liquid, I don't want to waste it. So I'm just going to squeeze it. So you'll see shortly that I actually do squeeze the fenugreek and, basically the herbs, to make sure that I get as much of the liquid as possible. Otherwise, I won't end up with very much. So even though I've already strained it, you can see that there is still some sediment in that liquid up there, which is exactly why you need to use the paper towel or something to make sure that you catch all the powders. Otherwise, all of that stuff will go into your hair. As I say, there's no real problem if the particles end up on your scalp and your hair, but sometimes it just ends up with a little bit of product buildup, and I don't like that. So I'm just trying to get as clean a spray as possible. So just left it for a few more minutes, and then once most of it had drained, I then just squeezed very gently. So you do want to be gentle at this stage because the paper is wet, and if you squeeze too hard you might burst it, and then basically it defeats the whole purpose, and then you have to start all over again. So just squeeze very gently just to get a bit more of the liquid out, but I didn't want to go too hard, so I did leave some, but it wasn't that much, and it's better safe than sorry, isn't it? But anyway, just to show you the kind of stuff that you'll be left with, and you really don't want that in your hair. Well, I wouldn't. So now we've got our beautiful clean spray, and it's ready to put into our spray bottle. There we go. So I'm just putting mine into a spray bottle, but you can use any other container of your choice, whatever works. So this spray, it is done and it's ready to use, and it's such a versatile spray. So you can use it as a leave-in spray, and that's my preference. And if you do that, you're actually using it as a scalp spray. So you're not focusing on the hair, you're focusing on the scalp. So you apply it to the scalp, massage for a few minutes, and then you can proceed to add a leave-in conditioner and, butters and oils, etc. But you can also use it as a pre-poo. So in that case, you would make a lot more than this, and you would then saturate your hair and then cover with the plastic for about 30 minutes, and then proceed to shampoo and condition your hair as normal. And another way to use it is to use it as a final rinse. So you'd first, do whatever you do, pre-poo if you want to. You can shampoo, condition your hair, and then instead of just using plain water to do the final rinse, so the last rinse of your wash day, you use this instead. So you do leave it in. So it is like a leave-in treatment. If you use it as a final rinse, you don't rinse it out afterwards. And there you go. So how often to use it? 2 to 3 times a week is more than adequate. If you're using it as a pre-poo, you can do that every week, or even as a final rinse. It will be fine. And in terms of storage, we didn't add a preservative, so it does need to be kept in the fridge, and it lasts about a week. If you've made a big batch, yes, you can freeze it, and it'll keep in the freezer for about a month. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. And if you try it, do come back and let us know how you get on. Before I go, thank you so much to everybody who subscribed so far. Thank you so much for helping my channel to grow. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. Thank you also to everybody who comes and engages with the content. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, then please do subscribe, and also please give the video a thumbs up, and also sign up for notifications so that you never miss any of my videos or my community posts. Until next time, my lovelies, you take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and God bless. Bye for now.